Welcome to This Week in Agriculture. Today we bring you a special edition focusing on the work of the Guyana Rice Development Board over the past year. This is Agriculture Month. We are into the third day of this special month of observances as we seek to highlight the developments occurring within the agriculture sector here in Guyana. Of course, you know the rice industry has been doing really well, despite the challenges that our farmers face in terms of dealing with the various pests and diseases that affect rice cultivation in Guyana. The GRDB has been working closely with the farmers over the past year and, of course, helping to mitigate against some of those problems the farmers have been facing. On the export front, of course, they've been working closely with the millers across the country in ensuring a level playing field for them and for farmers as it relates to their interaction and dealings with our hardworking farmers. On this special edition of This Week in Agriculture, we focus on a number of issues affecting the local rice industry, but more so we look at the role of the GRDB in ensuring that the industry continues to grow. With me in studio today, we have the General Manager of the Guyana Rice Development Board, Mr. Nizam Hassan. I'd like to welcome you to the special edition. We have the Deputy General Manager, Ms. Alison Peters, and you've been seeing her on television. She's been all across the country interacting with our farmers along with the rest of her team. Chief Scientist, Dr. Mahendra Pasod, and Extension Manager, Mr. Besesar Pasod. I'd like to welcome you all to this special edition. We're in the middle of, well, we've just started Agriculture Month, and you have a number of programs and activities planned for this month of observances. Let's quickly just look at some of your key activities this month, and then we'll move on to some of the other subjects we'd like to talk about in this program.
Sure, I guess I can go, Chris. Well, kicking off Agriculture Month, you know, we have an activity where we're highlighting and showcasing the use of blended flour in terms of making breads and pastries and so on, and discussing the opportunities for using blended flour. We have successfully done some research work on using 20% rice flour with 80% wheaten flour, and we have produced products, bread, pastries, that are equally as good as products made with 100% flour. So that's one of our activities that we plan for Agriculture Month. Additionally, our usual normal open day at the research station will be done again. Of course, it is used to promote and highlight the achievements of the research station and to interact with farmers and students and so on, and to really emphasize what we are doing towards serving the industry. And as we go through this program, both Dr. Mahendra and Alison will add more on that. We also have a number of activities in the regions themselves where we will be doing similar such things at our regional offices, where we will be promoting the work of the Rice Board. One of the things that we started this year, for this crop actually, was growing of rice in Region 9 in the small communities. So we've had 2 villages, Quarry and Shulinav, where we'll be harvesting later in this month. We'll be harvesting that research work, that production that has been done there. As the crop was progressing, we've gotten good feedback in terms of how it has been progressing, and so we expect good results on that. Now, once that is given the expected success, that will continue in other villages. That, of course, as we have seen one of the representatives from one of the villages saying, it will supplement the needs for the staple needs for the villagers. So we have cassava that is primarily one of the staples for the communities, and then now we are encouraging them to grow rice.
So you're going to have a special event in that region as part of your activities for the month.
Yes.
All right, so in addition to that, you'll be commissioning a new head office. Is that one of the things on your schedule?
Yes. We will be commissioning our new head office in the Kaisukos compound in the LBI during the month, and you know our facilities at Kawan Street, we've sort of outgrown those facilities, and so we have new offices at LBI that we will be commissioning during this month.
And one of the I suppose, most relished events you'll be having is the rice tasting dishes or rice dish tastings you'll be having at the Umaniana sometime during this month.
Right. So that activity, we really want to emphasize and show that we don't only just cook rice by boiling rice only and serving either white rice or fried rice. There are so many dishes and so many delicacies that can be made with rice. And so we want to encourage more use of rice, more consumption of rice in different forms, because there's so much benefits that could be had from consuming rice as against other products, especially for a health conscious person. You can make different kinds of products. Primarily because rice is our staple here in Guyana. We use it mostly as boiled rice. But in other countries, in other communities, there are lots of different products that are made with rice as an ingredient to other products. And so this activity promises to be an exciting one. We'll have a range of foods cooked by the various chefs from different businesses, restaurants and hotels and so on. And it promises to be a fun-oriented kind of a Saturday afternoon.
And it's open to the public free of cost?
It is open to the public free of cost.
All right. So let's focus now on the work of the GRDB over the past year and basically the performance of the local rice industry. But before we do that, I remember the recent rice day, field day as it were. Farmers were asking a number of questions. Oh, so is you role in the rice industry and so on. Just give an overview of the GRDB's role in Guyana's rice industry. We know you're basically there to manage the industry, but just give us briefly an overview of your role.
Right. So the Rice Board has to conduct research for the industry, and the results of that research, it must extend it to rice farmers. So which, of course, as we go through this program, both Dr. Mahindra and Ms. Peters can emphasize some more on. So one of the things we do is do research for the industry. We also look at trade with regards to markets. We, to the extent that there are opportunities for our products, we share that information to millers, exporters. We also provide a range, or I should say, the range of services, because after research, there's extension work where you have to disseminate that information from the research to the farmers. And then as the crop is developing, it would require any kind of advice or any kind of intervention. So we do that through our extension services. And then after harvesting, this is where our quality control services come into effect, and that is from harvesting from the field goes to the mill. The mill processes the paddy, and you get different types of rice, parboiled rice, white rice, and so on. Quality control is still there. And so our services are to ensure and guarantee that we reach the required standards by the buyer or by the various countries that we are exporting to. And there you have it, from research, extension, marketing. These are just the three key disciplines, but beyond those three disciplines, there are many other things that we are doing.
All right. So we're, it's the 3rd of October for the second crop. Harvesting is advanced, and the figures are looking good so far. This is another good showing for rice farmers. Reviewing the industry for the past year, the production effort of our farmers in terms of their productivity and so on, exports, the whole ball game. How would you describe 2019 for the local rice industry in Guyana?
Notwithstanding the challenges, 2019 has been an excellent year. I'll say so because, firstly, we closed 2018 national average yield at 5.8 tons per hectare. And whilst we've not completed the second crop of 2019 as yet, but for the first crop of 2019, the average yield for that first crop was 6 tons per hectare. We are hoping that we will maintain that towards the end, but we have to see until all of the crop has been harvested. That said, we saw in the second crop, because of the demands for the supply of paddy and rice, initially we had targeted 85,000 hectares to be sown in the second crop, and it almost reached 90,500 tons, 90,482 to be exact. And we had some challenges, of course, with the paddy bugs, which was discussed early in the crop. But from what we've seen, we've gotten good results. Let's see towards the end how much we will close the harvest tonnage by.
This productivity improvement that we've seen in our farmers was occasioned, of course, by the extension services of the GRDB. Bish, you've been working hard with other farmers across the country in ensuring that their agronomic practices are up to standard and in keeping with the recommendations of the board, especially as it relates recently in the issue with paddy bug management. The GRDB launched a massive intervention 2 months, 3 months ago, when it seemed that the paddy bugs were in danger of overriding everything. So we're hearing from our farmers today that those interventions have helped significantly. Let's talk about those interventions across the board in helping our farmers to arrive at the level of productivity they are at today.
Thanks, Chris. Like GM said, after research would have developed their research findings, that would have been extended to extension to the farmers, and we do disseminate those practice or those technology that would have developed from research to the farmers through extension. And those technology actually are the best agronomic practices that would have developed in research. And with regards to the high level of paddy bug that we saw earlier, there were some strategies that farmers were implemented to the farmers, and one was the seed treatment. Once the farmers followed that seed treatment program, what it does, it protects the plant to approximately 25 days, and that will allow the farmers not to spray within that period. When the farmers do not spray that period, there is a buildup of natural enemies, and those natural enemies take care of the mid-season pest, which is the paddy bug. Apart from the seed treatment program that we advocate for farmers to go with, the farmers, we encourage them to spray the dams and the mares to get rid of the paddy bugs, and not to spray the field during the vegetative stage. Now, in the event that the paddy bug is there during flowering and it's above the threshold, we advise farmers then to spray with a systemic chemical.
All right, but apart from the paddy bug intervention, you've been working with farmers across the board in terms of all other aspects of their effort as regards increasing their yields. Specifically with regard to the newest variety that has been introduced, the GRDB 15, we've seen farmers employing the advices dispensed by your team, and they've been getting results. Let's talk a little about those interventions that you've been having.
GRDB would have released new varieties, for example, the GRDB 15 recently, and farmers are getting decent yield with it, 40 bag plus per acre, and that variety, they would have used their best agronomic practice to achieve those yield. And some of those agronomic practice farmers would have followed are the time of planting. Following the time of planting, we know that for the first crop is 15th of November to 31st of December, and the second crop is from 15th of May to 30th of June. What happens when you plant within that time? You expose the plant to maximum sunlight or high radiation at the time of flowering. Thus, by enhance grain filling at that time, and that translates actually to higher yield. And another area that we look at is quality seed. We always advise farmers to go for quality seed. And at the research station, we do produce the certified seed, which C1 and C2, and we always ask farmers to go and use that, because certified seed, which are clean, gives you 10 to 15% of your yield right away. So we are asking the farmers then to use the certified and clean seed at all time. Then we look at the seed rate. Seed rate play a very important role in increasing your yield. And our recommendation at GRDB is 100 to 120 pounds of seed per acre. What happens when you use 100 to 120 pounds of seed? You have more root biomass and more productive tillers. And the plant, the microenvironment there is okay, that there will be less disease incidence when you have a low seed rate. And the weeds are being controlled when you have a low seed rate also.
So basically, you want the plants to be able to breathe. You don't want them to thick, dense vegetation, nothing happening in between. And because of its closeness, when one plant becomes infected, it's easy to spread to the others.
Correct. And one more character that we know, that when you have a low seed rate, you reduce lodging, because oftentimes you find farmers have high seed rate, 160 pounds to 200 pounds of paddy per acre. The plants grow tall and slender, and as soon as they bear, they fall large. And we see that with we note that the GRDB 15 has or tolerate lodging to a high extent, and the 15 itself, from farmer point of view, the variety can delay harvesting.
Are you happy or satisfied that farmers have been heeding your advice as relates to planting in the season? Have you seen a reduction of the numbers as it relates to those who plant outside of the season over this past year?
Yes, those farmers that plant within the time of sowing, those are the farmers that have minimum incidence of disease and pest, and those are the farmers who have high yield. And the farmers who have planted outside of the time of sowing are those farmers that face with a high incidence of disease, weeds, and so on.
Paddy bug or insect pests in general?
Yes, because of the insect pest pressure during the out of season. And as I really can say, that one farmer had mentioned to us through our farmer field school that if you do not plant within the time of sowing, you're out of the game, meaning your yield dramatically will reduce, because you will not get that solar radiation at flowering for grain filling. And so through our farmer field school and our outreaches, we saw farmers are coming, those farmers that are planting outside the time of planting are trying to come back within the time of planting, whereby you have some farmers who are resting their land after they would have harvested during bad condition. So they rested the land just to go back on time for the following crop.
Yeah.
So Chris, I want to come in here. I think Bish has alluded to using good quality seed as a basis for the start of your crop. And I would like to say that we at the research station, we have continuously been producing more than 13,000 bags of paddy each season for use within the industry. He did allude to the certified 1 and certified 2 seed, but then we have what farmers would call the foundation seed, which is the basic seed, the basic seed that we use at the research station in order to produce the certified one seed. And the basic seed is also given to seed growers within the rice industry who will also produce seed paddy for other farmers. So it is good to know that not all the seed paddy from the industry comes from the research station to go directly to farmers, but we have seed growers outside of the research station that use basic seed from the research station and multiply those seeds. There are several varieties that we have there. We have the GRDB 10, 12, 14, 15, 196. We have several varieties that farmers can use. As a matter of fact, we plant our paddy at the research station earlier than the farmers, so by the time they're ready to plant their season, we would have already have seed paddy that can go on sale, that they can purchase from the research station. And we take the business of producing seed very seriously. We have been, over the last few years, been having 100% germinated seeds. That once seed is produced at the research station and it leaves there, that farmers can be assured that every grain will grow, and that will be the beginning of their crop.
You've also expanded the seed growing collaboration with your farmers. It was particularly centered around the east and some in region 2, but you now opened it up a little to allow for more farmers to be able to get involved in the production of quality seed.
Yes.
I want you to focus some attention on people think that the seed paddy coming from the research station, okay, we guarantee there's proper seed, but how we know that the farmer doing the right things and so on. So you can talk about your quality control measures as it relates to that.
Well, I'm glad you spoke about that, Chris, because what we've done, GRDB has contracted some farmers within all the rice growing regions, and those farmers are monitored continuously by the organization to ensure that they're following our practices. Not only directly from the research station, but we have extension officers in all regions who are our eyes and ears in the regions where those contracted farmers are producing the paddy. And we ensure that in, as you said, region 2, we have in Wikanam, we have Legwan, we have region 6, and farmers may not have to come directly to the research station to procure their seed paddy. They can get it from the GRDB approved contracted seed growers.
And is there a list that they can find these?
Yes, we have a list that
Okay.
we can make available.
All right. So Mahendra, your baby has been doing, your most recent addition to the family has been doing very well, which is the GRDB 15. We've seen farmers getting as much as, well, on average, 45, 50 bags. We've heard farmers boasting of getting 60 bags per acre. Tell me about this latest addition to the family.
Just before we go into that, I just want to follow up on Ms. Peters to put things in a little more perspective. So that what happened, we have a program that GRDB has carved out, noting that the seed system in Guyana is quite informal, or semi-formal. It's not foolproof being a formal seed system. So we have a program of, and we aim to, the heavy burden on the research station to continuously produce this quantity of seed of this quality also for the farmers. And having, I think Bishop mentioned the importance of using quality seeds for farmers. We cannot overrule that, and we have to keep that in sight. 10 to 15% of yield advantage can be had if you use certified seeds every time. And many parts of the world, it is impressed onto the farmers, and the farmers know the value of using quality seeds. Some farmers don't use any other seed in some parts of the world except approved seed of good quality. So we want to have that model here also. And in doing so, we first start here now. We want to also reduce the dependency of this quantity of seed, because we can never, at the GRDB level, to provide this quantity of seed to cover all the acreage. So we embark on a decentralization program, and you would know the Region 6, we have the seed facility there. So we have a group of farmers that are contracted to supply that seed facility with, and it's growing, and they're improving day by day the quality system. Everything is kicking in nicely, so farmers in Region 6 can have quality seeds, as good a quality seed that the research station is producing for them there. So that would reduce the dependency from us for that quantity, and also make available in a timely manner in Region 6. We spread our wings now in Region 2 and the other areas, and to provide this the similar facility. And this is something that we're going to place a lot of emphasis going in the coming seasons. So I just want to highlight that in a way. It's so more and more seeds will be easily accessible to farmers of a good quality, and we'll have the support service for those seed growers for the certification and everything as the season unfolds. So that I just want to say that on the decentralization. And the farmers, you'll see Dr. Payman will be leading that program. He's already out there. And those who want to come onto the program, it doesn't cost anything. We are happy to have you on the program if you want to become a seed grower.
It doesn't cost anything, and you get paid.
Yes,
Well,
so certainly, well,
the benefits also, for instance, with a decentralized seed program, the farmers in the respective communities can access quality seeds certified without having to pay, let's say, the transportation and handling costs.
Of moving it from
Because if
Burma.
they had to go to the research station at Bournemouth, then they would have had that cost. So this is one way, of course, trying to address that issue. As Dr. Mahindra mentioned, this program is going to roll out bigger. As we see it is going to evolve, we're going to tweak any kinks that they have there and so on. And so eventually we would have not only the research station producing seed. Alison mentioned that we have the basic foundation seed, which will be given to these farmers who can then produce the quality seed as required by the industry. Overall, you have good input from the seeds. You have this better output in terms of yield. So that's the vision. So diversify, because we ourselves can do all the production, work with the producers, have good quality input, and better output.
The potential, moving back to your baby, the GRDB 15, if is adopted by more farmers in terms of the acreage cultivated, has the potential to move those areas that are not yet 7 tons per hectare. We see some regions already getting Region 4, they have it 7 tons per hectare.
Right.
And the potential is for this GRDB 15 to move nationally, an average to 7 tons per hectare. But looking at the practices of our farmers over the past year, we have harvesting happening now, the GRDB 15. People are talking about, saying good things about GRDB 15. Are you satisfied that the farmers are applying the necessary steps to ensure that the full potential of this yield is realized?
thanks, Chris. Well, as far as the GRDB 15 is concerned, definitely it's a variety that can yield 7 to 8 tons per hectare. So if we are going to grow more acreage of this variety, definitely we'll see, as GM alluded, we see the national average keep growing. The variety is one, and you rightly said that the package of practice have to be followed very, very closely with these, not only the GRDB 15, the other varieties, and even the ones to come. We have seen the variety has a potential that it can give you 8 tons per hectare, and that is tested in Guyana. That's on an average 7 to 8 tons per hectare. In even better conditions, you could even get more. And similarly, in conditions that are not optimum, you'll get less yields. Farmers who have grown the GRDB 15 are very satisfied with the yields. It has lived up to the promise. We have said from the start that our results, we show the results, 45, 47 bags per acre on average, and it was always around 5 bags ahead of the GRDB 10, which is also performing very well at this point in time. But if I'm satisfied with the package of practice that the farmer is applying, well, some farmers are following very closely, and I think much more need to be done for many farmers to adhere to all the package of practice, going from timing of planting, which is becoming crucial and more crucial as the season goes by. With respect to climate change, you will hear more from us regarding that, trying to point out that in the farming committee. And so is every other package, every other practice. Farmers will have to almost very, very closely, they will have to work and very dedicatedly to apply those practices so they could have better performance from the variety. I see the GRDB 15 expanding gradually to cover more acreages, and that, as you know, GRDB has a program, the breeding program. We constantly trying to develop more varieties, so you will see more like GRDB 15 on board. But the key thing here will always be the package of practice to match the potential of the variety, and farmers will have to work with us very closely.
One of the things that have been bothering farmers in terms of their movement towards the adoption of this variety as the variety of choice for their cultivation has been alleged complaints by millers that they don't like short grain and they want long grain and so on. But you've addressed this on several occasions. Perhaps you can just address this question of suitability for the markets that Guyana serves of the GRDB 15.
But the GRDB 15 is a long grain rice, so
Yeah.
long grain paddy. So, but I wanted to say this with regards to what is happening from the marketing side, as regards to what Dr. Mahindra and even the team here have been speaking, because the farmers, we have to adopt the practices recommended. All the things that Bish has spoken about, seed treatment and so on, what Dr. Mahindra has spoken, because this is to help you to get higher yields. In terms of how markets are going though, and it's so competitive out there, you have improved productivity so that your income, your returns will be more with the same size of land or acreage that you're using, which will help to address improvements for yourselves then, because it's very dynamic at the market situation. Sometimes you see the prices climbing up and then suddenly they come down back for a few months and go back, because that's the real situation in the market. It's that demand and supply situation. And Guyana is not the only country that is working towards improving its production and practices for rice cultivation. The world over, all the producers are doing the same. So we have to keep abreast, and one of the ways in which the board is working with the industry is through all these things that we have been discussing here.
And quickly before we move on to the work that you've been doing at the research station, a new seed cleaning facility or machine, as it were, to be installed at Burma. Just tell me a little about that, and while you're at it, tell me what you can do with the old one that's there working.
Alison will tell you how we're faring with that new one. Yes.
All right.
Yes, Chris, we have already secured a new seed cleaning machine. It's sitting at Burma. We are waiting until we would have processed seeds for this season, and then the seed facility, the new machine will be installed. It will be able to clean more seeds per hour, and so we can expand our the amount of seed that we were able to produce at the research station, and we can get larger quantity ready for sale to the farmers quickly in a shorter time. It's a nice baby, and my team has said it seems that it's a new super cleaning machine, and we're looking forward to good output from the machine. The old one is still there, it's working, it's old, but it's doing the job. We have buyers. People are looking at wanting to use the machine after we would have finished with it, but we have not made a decision as yet what will happen to the older machine.
But
And-
to say, sorry, just wanted
ahead.
to say that it will be put into the industry.
Yes.
Yeah, it
To be
won't be
used.
scrapped.
No,
Yeah,
no,
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 because
no, no, no.
nothing is wrong with it.
No.
We are just upgrading.
Yes.
We are just upgrading, yes.
And increasing our input.
All right, so the research station is always working, looking to come up with a new menu of measures or new varieties to help boost further the productivity of the sector. And you've been saying at every interaction over the past few months, there's something in the pipeline. I'm now hearing you saying maybe 3 crops down the road. What are we looking at?
But before Dr. Mahendra goes forward, I want people to know that we don't only produce new varieties at the research station. The research station have other roles and functions. We do packages, as Bish said. We try different things there, and from the success of what we do there, is the
Transferred.
technology is transferred through extension to the farmers.
And when you say
New-
packages, you mean menu of agronomic measures?
Agronomic
Yes.
measures, new
Okay.
tests. Chemical producer may bring a chemical that he wants us to try to see how it will work with the paddy that we have at the station or that we're using in Guyana. We might look at fertilizers, new fertilizer measures, how do we apply it. All of that is tested at the research station because we have other departments. There's the agronomy department, there's the entomology department, plant breeding, of course, and pathology, diseases, weeds. We look at all of that in the research terms, and then we can talk after a period of trial. So Dr. Mahendra will speak of all the departments and what we expect over the next year, apart from maybe
New
some new varieties, which we are all excited about.
Right.
Yes.
Thanks, Ms. Peters and Chris again. The thing is, we have been conducting a series of research in almost all disciplines, all areas of that's applicable to rice, and particularly in Guyana, for whole cultivation techniques, to improve every aspect of rice that's within our, that we're able to do every aspect, so that we can improve the productivity at the end of the day, and that will reflect more income for the farmers. And if we start, we're looking at one of the bigger issues earlier in the year. It's paddy bug. It's not only paddy bug, it's the entire pest management, the pest complex that we're looking at the research station. We have worked out, we have been spending a lot of effort, the team, on paddy bug management, trying to come up with different solution techniques, and also even to try to study the bug and its environs in a detailed way, so we could be able to fine-tune our recommendation. We have been having also technical experts from our partners from Latin America to enable us to look at this pest in a more keen way, so that we can be more relevant in our overall management. I mean, ourselves, the researchers and the farmers. So that's a key area of research, and it falls within our colleague, Dr. Viv. She spearheaded that, and all the early season pests. Viv Bishop indicated seed treatment and the early season pest. We have seen the usefulness on that. That's one delivery of the department. But coming into, that has been a focus of that department for 2019, and I've seen our efforts going ahead. It will be even more detailed, because we have a couple of things more to chalk out as regard to the pest itself. That's a couple of things more that we want to do. To know more about the pests at the research level, unless and until we can understand how the pests operate in its finite species, we are not able to make accurate recommendation. So the more we know about the pests and the more we study the pests, the better we'll able to deliver a recommendation. And the thing is that as we are studying every pest and microorganism, they change accordingly. So we have to keep abreast. So entomology is one of the key pillars of the research station. Opposed to that, we've been seeing over the past couple of years, we have tackled the situation of blast. Blast has been one of the most dreadful diseases of rice in Guyana and many parts of the world. We have started a program to incorporate resistance into our varieties, and that's the only way you could manage that disease. Fungicide is not going to help you there, and this has been what's happening in all the major rice programs that have that blast impacted on, is to develop resistant varieties.
And you've basically beaten blast. You've gotten your varieties.
I would say so today, but tomorrow we never know. I think we have sufficient effort in the program and also what we are doing and how we are doing things. We have and having said that, many programs across. I just want to point you to that where we are too, because quite often it's sometimes we are thrown at the backlands of Burma. No one knows what we're doing and think we are not doing anything also. But for example, for blast, when you look at many programs across the world and look at the rate at which the resistant varieties will break down under the pressure for blast, right? Sometimes the varieties last maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and this disease would overcome the variety. Our variety stood up for over years. GRDB 10 is there. 135 is still resistant to blast after how many years? 196 is still resistant. So what we are doing is working well, and we are not fearful that we're going to be hit and the country will be hit down tomorrow with blast. I'm very sure that's not going to happen because the way we incorporate our resistance genes into our varieties, it's not going to happen. It can happen, but it's not going to happen next crop. We'll have sufficient time to think we are ahead.
Mitigate, yes.
Yeah, we are ahead on that. So that fits well in what the next department, pathology, does for us because we have a strong breeding program, and blast has been the key element there, the resistance. So they will screen for resistance lines and develop a package of practice also for the other diseases. And as I said, on blast we are quite okay as to today and probably tomorrow. But we have seen an upsurge in other diseases like brown spot, and now we have seen some grain discoloration and to lesser extent sheet blight and sheet rot. So those we are, the department headed by Dr. Raj is constantly developing a package of practice, and most of these diseases you would realize, like the brown spot, sheet by sheet rot, and even to the grain discoloration to some extent. It's management. Management has a lot to do. Your nutrition, your sowing time, and how you manage the agronomic practices, and so on. So as we're talking all these things, you'll realize for the variety to stand up in the field, all these things have to come in place in a very precise way. So that's the business of the pathology department. Also, we are looking at all the fertilizer. We have seen the inflow of so many different fertilizer coming. Every one chemical company would come, they have this product and that product and try. Our job is to test these products, to ensure that if they're useful to farmers, we give a recommendation. If they're not really useful to the farmer, we keep interacting with the suppliers, and we ask them to even architect product for us. particularly fertilizer blend. We also looking at weed management, which is a key concern for us, particularly and red rice. The Department of Agronomy, headed by Dr. Payman, is aggressively working towards. You will see more of him next crop in terms of red rice management. We have seen there was a maybe 5, 6, 10 seasons back, there was a high population of red rice. We have seen it has dipped a little with some price differentials at the mill. But now again, you're seeing that like it started to. So we have so strengthened our red rice program to ensure that farmers have minimum, because each one of these things will peg you back to, it comes back to yield. So if you have more red rice, you have less yield. Everything with disease, insect, everything. So it is impacting on the potential that the farmer can get, the real-time yield, what's available, what's potentially available for him to have. And also looking at different soil, different parts of the country, different soil and addressing issues on the ground based on soil report. And when we don't have a soil report, to make a judgment and give a farmer a specific recommendation, like for a specific site, how we can manage his farm. So that's the key work of the Department of Agronomy also. And developing a package with nitrogen and seed rate and so for the newer varieties to come, that's mandatory. So that's the agronomy workload there. We also have the seed area, as all these varieties have been in the system. GRDB continue to produce varieties. We have a maintenance breeding program, so no one, we could very well give you any point in time the genetically pure seed of any variety, 135, 196, and you can go and produce the pre-basic, even to the pre-basic level. Have been talking about seeds and how we protect our seeds. The board itself, we have embarked on a program to develop, to create our a national gene bank for rice. So maybe the latter part of this year, or I'm hoping that it would not spill off to next year. We'll be able to commission that. Efforts are in place. We have the building. We have just a little furnishing is remaining there. So we'll be poised to be at par with anyone else in the business in terms of germplasm management for rice. And this is something that we fancy ourselves to save whatever we can save for the future. Basically, that's management. So in the year coming too, you look at not only the management, the utilization and the access and benefit sharing for germplasm.
We're running out of time on our program, so
go back to the new variety.
jump forward quickly. So, what can we expect?
Yeah. So we have so many lines that we're working on, and I just want to steal a little more time on you there before we come to okay. Let me address that. We will be in a position at the end of in the next 2 weeks' time. So by first crop next year, which is effectively from November the 1st, we will have to look at all the data that we have. But so far, it's pointing that we will be ready for final trials in the farmer field, on-farm trial in 2020 of a new line.
Equal to the 2015 in terms of the GRDB 15 in terms
equal
of,
to the task of the 15.
Okay. All right. So moving over to another important department, the quality control. This is a very critical bit of framework within the GRDB, so to speak. Quality control. Tell us about this department and what it really does.
Well, you know, Chris, people refer to what we do as grading of rice. But it's much more than that. The Quality Control Department of Guyana Rice Development Board has been certified to the international standard, ISO IEC 17025, which is a testing standard. We are certified by the Jamaica Agency for National Accreditation, JANAC, we want to call it. I must tell you that this is not only testing of rice, this standard. All the persons that test, like laboratories, etc., also are held accountable to this standard. So this is to let you know how important this accreditation is to the rice industry, because we are held to having systems in place. We just can't pick a sample up and certify it. It has to go through several stages. We have to retain samples once we have tested it, so that if there are any issues with them, it can be regraded. Somebody can come to our lab in terms of the certifying body and trace from the time we start to sample in terms of taking our trials. You may have seen staff out there with some long steel equipment, boring into rice bags on trucks, etc. That's what we call sampling. That's how we sample paddy, rice, and byproducts. And once we get the grain out of the bag, then we're able to certify. We can't just look at rice or paddy and say it would have met a quality. We have to sample. So the staff start from the sampling. We procure the sample, be it rice or paddy. We analyze that, and then we certify, depending on the quality, extra A, B, C, sample grade, and according to contract specification if it's for export. The department also look at the treatment of the product for export, fumigation. So we're involved in phytosanitary services. All rice and paddy that is exported from the country has to undergo fumigation, and the staff of the department conducts the fumigation. Now, we don't only fumigate if we see insects, because people feel that you treat the product because it got weevil, as they would say. But internationally, phytosanitary services is to ensure that no insect enters the country of import. So the department is just more than grading rice, and we license mills and ensure that they meet certain basic levels in order to purchase paddy from farmers for the production of rice for local sale and export.
All right, we're just about out of time on this special edition of This Week in Agriculture. Any closing thoughts you would like to share with us before we go, Jim?
Well, Pressy, from all that we've discussed and all that we've heard, you can see that our work is geared and in keeping with the theme of Agriculture Month, sustainable agriculture for ensuring food safety and a green economy. All of the things that Alison's just spoken about, we are addressing any concerns that consumers and markets have with regards to food safety and food security. Towards a green economy, the number of menu of measures that the Rice Board is working towards improving the industry. There's something that Dr. Mahindra mentioned that we didn't go too much in detail in, but he said that we will discuss it more as we go through this Agriculture Month, and that is the issue of planting within the recommended time and the issue of climate change. Because sometimes we hear that, okay, well, because the seasons are, it's no longer
Lines getting
that
blurred.
predictable. Right, exactly. But he has advised me that it's even stronger that we have to stick within the season. So throughout our interactions during this Agriculture Month, we will be taking that information out to farmers to edify them some more, because we want to ensure that we maintain our levels of productivity and further improve as we go along.
I want to thank you all for taking the time to come sit with me here in this special edition of This Week in Agriculture. We certainly look forward to having you engaging more conversations on the issues relative to the local industry. For those of you at home who've sat with us over the past hour, we want to thank you for doing so. We certainly hope that you're more enlightened as it relates to the local rice industry, the challenges it faces, and the efforts at ensuring that our farmers are able to feed their families. Until next time then, I'm Christopher Holden on behalf of the entire production team saying so long. See you around.